Everyone, follow me!
Oh, yes!
Oh, yes!
Hello there. Can I do something for you? Station.
Yes? No doubt. That is a long tale. Some pieces of the tale I gave when we escaped. But there is more, yes. As you probably already know, the King of Shadows was once a creation, a guardian of Ilfan. By tapping into the power of the Weave, the source of all magic in Faerun, Ilfan sought to make an invincible protector to shield its borders. Yes, Ilfan's enemies, the Netherese, in their quest for power ended up disrupting the Weave. The Guardian relied on the Weave to sustain itself. Without it, it was forced to seek another source of power in order to continue to protect Ilfan. It found a darker source of magic, the Shadow Weave, and tapping into it, transformed the Guardian of Ilfan into something else, the King of Shadows. A man, perhaps. Who it was, I was never able to determine. But whoever it was, he was willing to give up himself to protect his empire. Give up his sense of self, his identity. It is no small sacrifice. There is a certain sympathy I have for such a man, for someone willing to make that choice. He cast away his family, his ties to his people, and he ended up suffering for it while attempting to save them. Such a motivation is not hard to understand. Even more now, to see the King of Shadows reviled for what he has done, and knowing that at its core, he sought only to protect the people under his care. Now, its people are gone, and even knowing its failure, it still seeks to protect its empire and, most importantly, itself. If it frees itself, it will seek to destroy anything that threatens it. You first, then I. Then it will destroy all civilization on the Sword Coast where its former empire lay. And from then on, I do not know what it will do. But the coast shall become as the mare is now, lifeless. Its only people raised from the dead to become the shades of the new Ilfan Empire. No doubt. The shards, including the one lodged within you, are part of the Sword of Gith. Its history is a tiresome one. Ask the Githzerai if you would know more. She could no doubt recite countless metaphors concerning Gith and Zerthaman. The importance of the shards is that once recast into a blade, it is likely to have the power to harm the King of Shadows, and as such is vital to our quest. I do not know. Perhaps their extraplanar origin is what makes the King of Shadows vulnerable to them. There may be some secret in their creation that is unknown to me that may make them effective as well. Regardless, the King of Shadows is vulnerable to them, and to the Sword of Gith most of all. No doubt. Disdain. I hardly consider her worthy of emotion at all. She is a blind follower, an adherent of her own people's history. There is blindness in such things. Yes, that is true. She has insights that we may not, and if nothing else, is an extra target for those who seek to harm us. What of her people? Where are they against this threat? We need allies who understand our enemy, yet her people do nothing. The people of Faerun are ignorant of the King of Shadows, yes, but her people are not. And neither do I. A question she could ask, perhaps, before we all lie dead at the King of Shadows' hands. No doubt. Yes, I imagine the history books have little to say on the matter, aside from my many misdeeds, which is how I wished it. The Jerro family was once part of the highest nobility of Neverwinter. When growing up, I displayed a certain aptitude for magic, especially the magic tied to the lower planes. With little training, I was able to do spells well beyond my years, and well beyond any training I received in the academies and elsewhere. Gain it. With the lower planes, the power is always there. It just needs a focus and the will to control it. In my case, it did not take long to master that power. The greater discipline came in using it sparingly so that few could see. When one displays such power, it does not grant you freedom. It becomes a cage and makes you a target. You will be constantly beset by the problems of others, who will see your power as an excuse to compensate for the lack of theirs. That is never a position I want to be in, nor a philosophy I wish to encourage in others. Nevertheless, I displayed enough talent to be accepted by the Neverwinter court, to be the Jester Mage. To make my intentions plain, it was a position of convenience and opportunity, one of many. The position allowed me to obtain access to many of the secrets of the Neverwinter, as well as free access to the Academy libraries, their vaults, and the court records. Also, I thought that perhaps my position might give me a greater voice when attempting to convince others of threats that beset us, but that proved to be an ill-founded conclusion. Oh yes, I had several teachers. Many are dead now through unfortunate circumstances, but not by my hand, I assure you. I sought teaching not only in Neverwinter and Waterdeep, but also across the plains from infernal allies, and even from the Arcane Brotherhood in Luskan. If one keeps the proper perspective and never shows weakness, well, suffice to say there is much that can be learned. Only when one solely listens to the lower planes does it cause blindness of purpose. Oddly enough, it was by walking these dark paths that I saw the greater threats we faced. Shadows were growing stronger around the Mayor of the Dead Men. This was due to the growing power of the King of Shadows. I attempted to warn the court of Neverwinter of this, but they were too busy vying for power and holding blades to each other's throats to listen. So I sought allies elsewhere, amongst demons and devils, and even the Githyanki. And I used all the power I had, which was considerable. And by waging a war, by the nature of my allies, I became something others feared. I even gained the name of my enemy, as you proved when you first encountered me in my haven. To think you believed me to be our mutual enemy. The irony runs deep, indeed. Was I ever fighting you? All I recall is you tripping across my path and my servants. Perhaps if you had sought another means to make your intentions known, we could have coordinated our efforts and none of this need ever have happened. Of course I blame you. You trampled like a fool child through ruins and libraries, disrupting my search, disrupting my goals. You should have stayed out of affairs you had no knowledge of. Indeed. And for the sake of amusement, perhaps you can tell me what you would have done. I concede there is some truth in what you say, but my actions, in light of Neverwinter's view on my goals, I believe were perfectly understandable. Still, you have given me something to think about.